Shut up, now!
The words hit him like a slap. No one spoke to Alexander Cross, CEO of a global empire, like that, especially not a little girl barely tall enough to see over the dashboard. He was behind the wheel of his own luxury sedan, cruising through the late afternoon streets, half listening to a high-stakes conference call. He turned his head, ready to unleash a scolding, but stopped. The girl's face wasn't defiant, it was deadly serious. Her small hand clamped onto his arm, pulling him lower in his seat. "What are you—" he began. "Quiet," she hissed, eyes darting toward the road ahead. Something in her tone, sharp, commanding, made him freeze. He followed her gaze, and then he saw it. A shadow broke from the sidewalk, stepping into their lane. A glint of metal caught the dying sunlight. The man's face was hidden, but his intent was not. Alexander's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Instinct told him to speed up, to blow past the danger. But the girl's voice came again, calm and unwavering. "Don't, he's not alone." Her tiny finger pointed to the alley. Another shadow shifted there, then another. 3 men now, trapping the road ahead. Alexander's mind raced. He was the one who closed billion-dollar deals, who stared down boards of directors without blinking. Yet here he was, frozen because a 6-year-old had read the danger before he did. "Who are you?" he muttered. "No time," she said. "When I say go, turn left." He swallowed hard, pulse thundering in his ears. The first man stepped closer, hand hidden inside his jacket. The girl's eyes locked on Alexander's. "Go! Now!" With a screech of tires, the sedan lunged left, narrowly missing the figure in the road as the city blurred around them. The engine roared as Alexander swung the car down the narrow side street, headlights slicing through the darkness. In the rearview mirror, shapes exploded into motion. The men were running, shouting, their footsteps pounding against the wet pavement. "Faster," the girl urged, her voice low but steady. "They'll try to cut us off at the next block." Alexander's jaw clenched. He'd driven these streets 1,000 times, but tonight they felt different, tighter, heavier, as if the city itself had turned against him. "How do you know this?" he asked, swerving past an overflowing dumpster. "Because they've been watching you." "For days," she said, her gaze never leaving the dark ahead. A chill rippled through him. "Watching me? Why?" The girl hesitated. "They think you have something you don't even know about." Before he could press her, a black van screeched into view from the side street, blocking their path. Alexander's pulse spiked. He hit the brakes hard, tires screaming. The girl's hand shot out, pointing to an unlit alley. "There, turn before it's too late." Alexander didn't think, he reacted. The steering wheel jerked under his grip as the car shot into the alley, the narrow walls scraping inches from the mirrors. The van roared behind them, its engine a hungry beast closing in. "Hold on," he shouted, slamming the accelerator. The girl gripped the seat, unfazed. Her eyes locked forward like she'd been here before. "Don't slow down. They'll try to trap you from both ends." "How do you know all this?" he demanded, weaving past stacks of trash bins. "I've seen them do it. To people who didn't make it out." Her voice was calm, but her words cut through him like ice. The alley spilled out onto a deserted industrial road. Streetlights flickered overhead, casting stuttering shadows. For a moment, there was silence, only the hum of the engine and Alexander's ragged breathing. Then in the distance, more headlights appeared. This time from the front. The girl's hand pressed against the dashboard. "We're not going to outrun them, but I know where to hide." Alexander's pulse thundered in his ears, but something in the girl's steady gaze told him to trust her. Without hesitation, he swerved hard left, following her pointed finger into what looked like nothing more than an abandoned loading dock. The tires screeched against cracked concrete as they slid into the shadows. "Kill the lights," she whispered. He flicked them off. Darkness swallowed the car. Outside, the roar of engines drew nearer, then split, one vehicle tearing past, the other slowing. Alexander held his breath. The girl leaned forward, peeking through the dashboard's dim glow. "They don't know we turned." "Not yet." For a few tense seconds, all he could hear was the ticking of the cooling engine. Then the sound of tires faded into the distance. Alexander exhaled, shoulders slumping. "You just saved my life." The girl finally looked at him, and for the first time, there was the faintest smile. "I told you to shut up, so you'd live long enough to thank me." Silence lingered between them, heavy but no longer hostile. Alexander studied her, this tiny stranger who had appeared out of nowhere, taken control and outwitted danger without flinching. "Who are you?" he asked softly. She shrugged, eyes scanning the street for any sign of returning trouble. "Just someone who knows when to speak, and when to make people listen." Alexander's hands tightened on the wheel. "You're not just some kid, are you?" Her gaze flicked to him, sharp and knowing. "And you're not just some driver." The words hit him like a mirror held to his own face. She saw through him as easily as she'd read the streets. The danger was gone for now. But Alexander knew, deep in his gut, this was only the beginning. Somehow their meeting wasn't chance. Somehow the story between this powerful man and the mysterious little girl had only started to unfold. The city lights blurred past as they drove, each mile deepening Alexander's curiosity. He wanted answers, not just about the ambush, but about her. "Where are your parents?" he finally asked. The girl's eyes darkened, but her voice stayed calm. "Gone, a long time ago. I've been figuring things out myself." There was a maturity in her tone that didn't belong to a child, a sharpness shaped by survival. She shifted in her seat, glancing out the window. "I wasn't supposed to be here tonight, but when I saw you, I knew something was wrong." Alexander felt a strange pull, an urge to protect her, though part of him suspected she didn't need protecting at all. She had already saved him. "You don't even know me," he said quietly. Her lips curled into the faintest smile. "I didn't need to. I just knew you were worth saving." And with that, Alexander realized this girl might just change his life forever. Alexander tightened his grip on the wheel, the weight of her words settling in his chest. Worth saving. No one had ever said that to him without wanting something in return. They drove in silence for a moment, the hum of the engine filling the space between them. Outside, the rain had started to fall, streaking the windshield with silver lines. Streetlights flickered over her small face, and for the first time, he noticed how tired her eyes looked. Not from sleep, but from carrying too much for too long. "You were in danger too," he said finally. "You could have been hurt." She shrugged as if it didn't matter. "Better me than you. If something happened to you, a lot more people would have been hurt. You're important." He didn't know whether to argue or thank her. Instead, he just drove on, the city giving way to quieter streets. But deep inside, Alexander knew this wasn't the end of the night. It was the beginning of something neither of them could yet name. The car rolled to a stop outside the tall iron gates of Alexander's estate. Security lights swept across the driveway, catching the surprise on the guards' faces as they saw the soaked little girl in the passenger seat. One stepped forward, ready to open the door, but Alexander held up a hand. "She's with me." The words came out firm, almost protective. The girl glanced at him, her brow furrowing. "I can't stay here," she whispered. "I just needed to make sure you were safe." "You are staying," Alexander replied, his voice leaving no room for debate. "Even if it's just for tonight. I owe you that much." The gates swung open, revealing the warm glow of the mansion ahead. As the car crept forward, he couldn't shake the thought that maybe he needed her there as much as she needed somewhere to go. And in the shadows of the driveway, a figure watched them unseen, unmoving and far from finished. Inside the sprawling mansion, the warmth of the fire seemed to wrap around them, but the weight of the night still hung heavy. Alexander poured the girl a cup of hot chocolate, setting it gently in her small hands. She looked so out of place in this palace of marble floors and crystal chandeliers, yet somehow, she belonged here more than most who had ever walked its halls. "You didn't have to help me," he said quietly, leaning on the counter. "You could have run, hidden, pretended you didn't see." She shrugged, her voice soft but unshaken. "If I see danger, I stop it. Doesn't matter who you are." Those words cut deeper than any boardroom betrayal, any business rivalry. For years, Alexander had built an empire by trusting no one. And yet, here sat a little girl who risked everything for him without even knowing his name. From the shadows of the room, his head of security stepped forward. "Sir, about earlier. We found tire tracks outside your usual route. Someone was following you." The girl's eyes met his, and in that instant he understood. She had seen it before he did. She had saved him.